Good morning, everyone. We will begin the morning service at Miroku Association headquarters, asking God and Meishu-sama for protection and the permission to participate today in the divine plan of constructing a paradise on this earth. Let us pray together the Amatsu-Norito prayer of heaven, followed by the Miroku prayer. Please stand. Taka amahara ni kamuzumarimasu kamorogi kamoromi no mikoto mochite sumemi ya kamo izanagi no mikoto tsukushi no himo kano tachi hana no odo no ahagi harani Misogi harai tamo toki ni narimaseru. Harai dono o kami tachi. Moro moro no maga goto tsumi kegareo. Harai tamae kiyome tamae tomao sukoto no yoshio. Amatsu kami kunitsu kami yao yorozu no kami tachi tomoni ame no fuchi koma no mimi furi tatete kikoshi meseto kashikomi mo maosu. Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Oshie miyoya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Oshie miyoya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Kam nagara tamachi haemase. Kam nagara tamachi haemase. Great God of light, creator and giver of all life, in accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant divine light, shining ever more brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, a time long awaited by all humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan and for the privilege of channeling and receiving Johrei. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truth given to us by Meishu-sama. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized, with health, peace, and prosperity, a reality in our lives. Great God of light, bless and protect us. Radiate our souls with your divine light, so that we may truly become instruments of your great plan. Please be seated for group Johrei. May God, Meishu-sama, bless you. Teaching this morning is entitled Faith from Daily Inspirations, page 37. Even in this dark world, let us live with peace of mind, knowing that we are guided by the eternal light of God. While on earth, let us have true faith in God, quietly doing all that we can without fanfare for the welfare of others. In our search for truth, we may read thousands of books, but unless we have faith within, all our seeking ends in failure and illusion. Our goal is to create paradise on earth, but that has to begin on a smaller scale, with the creation of paradise in our homes and families. For that to occur, paradise must reside in our hearts, and having paradise in one's heart means there can be no suffering in one's mind. Impatience is a form of suffering, as is agonizing over plans that have not worked out. You must rise above suffering. The best way to negate suffering is through gratitude. In this way, paradise will reign within one's own mind. The past age has been referred to as the age of night, the age of hell. Even those with firm faith in God could not totally rid themselves of the sufferings of hell. However, the age of night is finally ending. We are about to enter the daylight age, and our organization will play a leading role in creating paradise. Therefore, as I said earlier, be careful not to foster suffering within your own mind, but rather create paradise within yourself. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining the morning service of the Miroku Association headquarters. Yesterday, at the sacred grounds of Guarapiranga, this faith experience was shared that I would like to share with you. It's from Adma Maria Holing. She's from the San Caetano do Sul Johrei Center. Adma has been a Johrei member for 3.5 years, and she gives service as a family assistant and recording and editing faith experiences at her Johrei Center. She's a lawyer and educator with a college degree, and she would like to share with us the profound changes that have taken place in her physical and mental health after learning about Johrei and Meishu-sama's teachings. Due to congenital malformation, she was born without her left hand. This entailed a series of obstacles and challenges throughout her life. She tried to compensate for the absence of her hand with an excess of self-demanding and perfectionism, which fatally she ended up demanding the same from others. 2012, she fell and fractured her right femur. After several tests, the diagnosis was grade 3 osteoporosis. The condition was very severe and she was at imminent risk of fracture in the lower limbs, upper limbs, pelvis, and spine. As her disease was considered incurable, drug treatments aimed to stop the disease, reducing bone loss. Over the next few years, she had 3 more small foot fractures. Admir was always terrified of the risk of falling or bumping into furniture, for instance, as she knew that any blow could mean a new fracture, immobilization, and all resulting inconveniences. In 2014, she was diagnosed with osteoarthritis, a chronic disease that affects the joints. She had frequent bouts of severe pain, lasting up to 2 months, with intervals of a few weeks. And even when she wasn't in a crisis, her pain didn't stop. It just became bearable. She started taking many medications, including analgesics, anti-inflammatory drugs, and corticoids, which worked as palliatives but did not solve her problem. In addition to the absurd medical expenses, there were serious side effects. She had stomach pains, and in 2016, she had severe ache and 9 kidney stones were detected. Her body could no longer bear taking so many medications. However, she had to work and make a living, so she saw no other way out. Still in 2016, she went through what would be her biggest challenge, and at the same time, the unexpected turning point in her life. She had a fall and, fearing a fractured spine that could leave her incapacitated, she put her hand on the floor to try to protect herself. She didn't fracture her spine, but she broke her right wrist in 7 places. Or, in doctor's words, her wrist was damaged in bits and pieces. Experts were unanimous in saying that her situation was very delicate, given the advanced stage of osteoporosis. Therefore, it would be practically impossible for her to regain hand movements. Excuse me. At the same time, they did not recommend any surgical procedure. Adma was allowed to be treated by a very skilled doctor who manually tried to put the bone fragments into place and later immobilized her right hand and arm. Excuse me. Since she doesn't have her left hand, she was unable to perform any tasks, even the simplest ones, such as picking up an object or taking a shower alone. Even to feed herself, she depended on people's help. She became extremely fragile and emotionally shaken. Knowing her condition, her neighbor, who lives downstairs from her and who is a member, knocked on her door and offered help and Johrei. Even without knowing exactly what it was about, Atma accepted. From then on, every day, the neighbor channeled Johrei to her for more than an hour. Many times, he brought her soup and even spoon fed her. The first noticeable change was in her emotional state. She became calmer, more confident, and began to have a glimmer of hope. Then her pains lessened. After 69 days of immobilization, she returned to the doctor to remove the cast and undergo tests to check her injury. The results surprised her and the entire medical team. The fractures calcified, its surrounding bones developed. Contrary to all expectations and predictions, her hand healed perfectly. Adma's gratitude was beyond words. She immediately recognized that it was a result of Johrei and asked her neighbor to take her to our church. Adma began to attend the Johrei Center assiduously, continued receiving Johrei intensively, and started to do physiotherapy. She gradually recovered her hand movements, and about 8 months after her accident, she was already performing all activities normally, without pain or limitations. With great gratitude, in July 2018, she was blessed to receive the sacred focal point Ohikari. She began to pray for her ancestors, took the Ikebana Sangetsu course, practiced home gardening, and joined several times pilgrimage groups to the sacred grounds of Guarapiranga. She became aware of the importance of a healthy diet and started to consume less industrialized products and free from pesticides. Pain crises became much less frequent, occurring on average once a year. When they arose, she looked to Johrei for relief and strength to overcome them. Resorting to medication is a very last resort. In early 2021, she took a new series of exams and had two more big and wonderful surprises. Of her 9 kidney stones, 8 were eliminated naturally. Bone loss, which characterizes osteoporosis, no longer appears on exams. This means that her bones have returned to normalcy, and she's no longer so easily at risk of fractures. Moreover, it wasn't just her physical health that changed. Today, she feels completely rejuvenated from within. The contact with the light of Johrei and the teachings of Meishu-sama has enabled her to become a better human being every day. She's a person who has learned to accept herself, as well as to increase tolerance and empathy towards others. She tries to understand the events in a lighter and more positive way. She now understands that God is in charge of everything and that nothing comes from Him that is not for our absolute good. For her, this change in consciousness is as or more important than having recovered the movements of her hand or stopped having pain in her body, since even the pain or some daily limitations, she learned that to see them as process of purification, important for her growth and spiritual elevation. Therefore, as worthy of gratitude as the naturally positive events. She knows she still has a lot to learn, but she's sure that she became whole and complete after knowing Meishu-sama and his teachings. She has already had permission to guide a friend to our church, and she will be happy to see her son become a member scheduled for tomorrow, December 21st, when he will receive the Ohikari. She's holding hands with Meishu-sama, and she intends to never let it go. From now on, her life project is to serve body and soul the divine work, taking care of others and guide them to the path of salvation. Adma was immensely grateful for the permission to share her faith experience at the altar of the sacred grounds of Guarapiranga. Meishu-sama's birthday is celebrated this month, but we are the ones who got gifts because we have Johrei, the teachings, and the practice of faith in our lives. That was a wonderful experience from Adma. Thank you for attending this morning service. Wish you a very wonderful day, wonderful week, and with this concludes our morning service. Thank you very much.